Well, hello again, everybody. Welcome to Solutions with Aquarius Rising Africa. And we have with us the awesome Tom ALTHOUSE again. Hello, Tom. How are you today? You're looking very smashing in your dark outfit.
You guys
looking very suave.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm excited. I have the plants here I can talk to on the side. So yeah, it's this is great to be here with you guys.
That's very cool. I love your plants. And remember, we taught you, what do you have to say? Not laugh. You must say what? Laugh. We laugh.
Yes. I have to practice my laughing. I've got my tea though. I've got my tea, and I'm going to work on my laugh. Here it comes. Ready? My sophisticated laugh. Well,
you see, that's a laugh. But when you're in South Africa, we laugh, and then that's a very different thing.
Oh, okay.
Then you like us.
I kind of laughed and laugh. Okay, good.
Guys, we're teaching Tom how to speak South African lingo. So when he comes here, he'll fit right in without these American accents.
He
can be a mole.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. So welcome back. So good to have you again. Very chuffed to have you so many weeks in a row. I'm getting used to this. I think we're going to have to keep it this way.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
It's like really cool.
Yeah. It's like
exactly. It's Christmas every week, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. I look forward to this. I've had a number of interviews through the week that are, very exciting, but this is like coming home for the holidays. It's nice.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, tell us about your other interviews before we get going on our stuff. How's it been going? Where are you guys at? I know you're doing some cool things there. Do you want to share with our viewers at all?
Yeah, we're besides the documentary work that I'm doing right now that I've been assigned by the documentary team has bled also into the book work. It just goes side by side. So the book is formulating with the documentary. And so the documentary first, book next. And the book will be just what's happened, lay it all out. And as I work on it, I'm like, woo, boy, the other side really has applied all horses in this situation, which means people can really see a slice of what goes on when it's at the highest level. And they'll be able to identify things in their own life if they've been targeted that, okay, I see this and here's what you can do. So basically it's a blueprint layout, template for how to handle it. We've had them throw every pot and pan at my situation, and also the idea hopefully of how to overcome with beautiful people like yourself. And I'm looking forward to taking that session with you, by the way. So it's like, we have our abilities and talents, and that's why divide and conquer is applied. But these other people that are involved are getting hit hard, and they're going to stand anyway. I mean, we're talking everything from murders to interruptions to phone calls being all the time I hear on the phone call is important, like, okay, it's being garbled now. Yeah, of course it is. And Red Pill 78 just did an interview, did a lot of research, did a great job. And he said that just before the day before we got on, they struck him on his Stitch account or Snitch account, whatever it's called, gone. So they're still striking that way, but people are ending up on multiple platforms that we're defeating them. We're actually outplaying the other side. And they are in a panic because they didn't think this wall would break through.
Well, I love that because I think, wow, we were just talking a little bit off air before we began, and we were just mentioning what is going on. There's just so much stuff happening. I was actually mentioning just in one of our other interviews yesterday, I think it was yesterday, for about the last 3 months or so, I definitely have felt an intensity of the energy, just kind of like bottlenecking. I don't often get triggered by things, especially not when it comes to stuff like this. I'll be quite honest. But wow, there have been a couple of things that have certainly been triggering me. And I was just saying to you as well, and to Morna as well earlier, it's like, thank God I've been teaching the work that I have been for 20 odd years, because I listen to the echo of my own voice, where when certain situations arise and I kind of feel myself going, ooh, I have to step back and I have to breathe and I have to not allow this dividing and conquering, because I can understand that there's a lot of that going on at the moment. There's this people being triggered, people being divided, conquering happening that way, despair occurring as well. Definitely. I mean, just with my animals and stuff. Now, if anyone knows how to get to me, they'll get to me through my animals. There's been a lot of hocus pocus going on there, but I'm aware of it and I see it and I understand it. And, you know, I think for me, what is the big thing is that just to sit down, I meditate a lot, I pray a lot, I do lots of yoga. I'm aware, I have God's garden right here on my doorstep. I go to the beach a lot, I take beach walks, I swim in the ocean. For me, that is very, very good, just to keep connected and to keep sane in this crazy, insane time. So I think tonight's conversation that we want to sort of put out there is really, I think it's very pertinent to the times. We were talking about just stepping back, getting perspective. What is this? What is the perspective we need to be getting at this time? How do we reset? You said something very amazing in terms of when we're building a puzzle, you know, we can, like, think of a kid building a puzzle and they get the wrong pieces in the wrong place, or sometimes we do too, you know, but we don't throw the puzzle away. We keep it on the table and we reassemble. So it's kind of recycling. Nothing is, you know, there's the beautiful that I always say, energy can never be created or destroyed, only ever transferred or transformed. So it's taking that same energy, recreating the perfect picture with the same thing that we've had. And I think in your case, I think that is so pertinent because of what you've done, what has occurred in your life, what's, you know, the work that's been stolen and recreated to suit their narrative as opposed to your narrative. So I want to hear from you in terms of that. Stepping back, what are you seeing when you get that distance? It's like when you get that perspective. I mean, it's when you have things right up in your face, you can't see so well. We panic, we can't breathe, we suffocate. Then we can take a breath, step back. It's almost like watching a movie, you know, at a distance or something on TV. Now you can get the perspective. What is happening? What to do now? How do we move along in a more flowing, harmonious direction?
Right. So, I think such a great question. Thank you for leading me right into that one. The Bible, even, I mean, just go for the Bible a second. There's different beliefs. I don't negate any belief system. I celebrate people's ability to have faith, not their religions, but their ability to have faith. That's what brings us together. But biblically, there's a topic about removing the log from our own eye first. I never understood that as a kid. You know, a lot of things I didn't understand. And Sunday school didn't clean it up for me often. I often drove the teachers crazy with my questions that were layered. But the idea is, one of the things with stepping back, we can step back, and often what we see first is ourselves. Have we changed? Are we being conditioned by the other side through horror, terror, tactics? We need to reset ourselves. Take a look at who we are in the mirror, take a step back and say, okay, have I been altered through these experiences? Who am I? And what do I like about who I am when I began this journey? This is an important question to reset who we are back to who we are, so the other side hasn't reconditioned us. That's important. It also puts to mind when we succeed, which is the big thing for the other side. Success means they're all going to be coming to you. The bankers all will be there. The offers start flowing again. The parties, whatever. We cannot change who we are even when we see through the gauntlet and succeed. We still have to take that step back at times and say, am I who I am? Am I who people invested in that trusted me? Or have I changed into something altered because of popularity, finances, success, and prior because of the horrors, you know? And am I doing any justice to my sons that are gone, that have been taken from me, from this world, if I change? I want to be me and be around my friends that are them. I would be horrified to see, Mornay, you change into something different because they bedazzled you. And I don't think that would happen. But it would horrify me.
Mornay loves being bedazzled.
Yeah, if you were like suddenly decked out.
Throw that in.
You know, here's the wardrobe. They did with my cousin, the wardrobe and the car and the Supreme
I love it.
rewards. Yeah. You see, isn't that horrifying to see somebody change that you loved who they were? You know, and that's what their strong point was. And they make like they kind of homogenize everybody when they take them in, expect them to behave a certain way, and they lay down the rules. You're one of the elite now. No, the brilliance of who we each are and our audience members is we remain who we are. Do keep that core. So that's one of the reasons, one of the things about stepping back. Long answer. The other thing too is,
can I just chime in there? Sorry, if you don't mind.
Oh,
I think that is such a powerful thing to do, because when we step back and when we do that inner reflection, especially when we've been in this crazy space of chaos, we then are able to step back, align ourselves with our source. You know, as you say, you know, it's not about religion or anything, but it's about your faith. It's spirituality. Okay, whatever your spiritual alignment or your spiritual attunement is, align yourself with that. And from that point is actually an expansive point. We're then able to expand. You know, we're either going to sink or we're going to swim. We're either going to get, as you say, allow the negative energies to play silly buggers with us, and then we become a victim. Or we then say, screw this. This situation is here to expand me and expand my consciousness and turn me into a stronger, more powerful, more connected being. And, you know, power isn't about how strong you are and how much money you have and how many muscles you have and how you can beat someone up. Not at all. That's what happens when you're in that suffocated space type thing where you're fighting your way through things. When you've stepped back, power is kindness. It's compassion. It's the ability to understand. And that gives us our expanded consciousness, if you will. And from that place to recreate, if that makes sense. I mean, I know.
You just made me think of it too. We are setting environments ourselves. If we step back and reset ourselves as we are designed to be, or what our core is, or what we chose that our heart says, this is what I want to be, then we set an environment around us that those that enter that environment can benefit from the environment we set. So we don't have to be whatever the other side loses control. The nefarious players, those that are elite, lose their control of us, and they all have urges to want to follow us because we have a more dynamic environment that we set. What did the expert witness say? Let's draw it into a personal situation. Tom Althouse created a fantastic world through his work. That's my work. Creating an environment. Another lady called me and said, because of your work, Tom, you've changed the world where everybody now is under your creation of a world. Very interesting point and thought, but we're each creating environments. Mornay creates an environment, you create an environment. I'm benefiting from the environments you create. This is like I said, when I entered the program here, coming home, it's because of the environments you create. And so each of us do that.
Absolutely.
And that's an important thing to remember. We are never, we matter. All of us matter. Those listening, you matter. And there can be a time where one of us come to you and you've set an environment, those that are listening, that lifts us. And it gives us an ability to get our footing back. And so talking about resetting, we can help each other always. Find your center, like you were saying. Last time we had a program, I wasn't centered. I was feeling back to the shyness thing and everything else. Initially, I wasn't born shy. I don't believe that now. I believe I was conditioned to be shy. I don't believe I was made to be shy because I don't feel good being shy. I feel good being what I am right now, which there's a calmness that sets in when you step back. Yeah. And it's like it resets. The other side fears this. It's like, uh-oh. It's almost like those anime cartoons my son loves, where the person steps back and they always say about using their breathing, you know, and they reset themselves, ready for the next assault or next thing, be it peaceful or aggressive. So anyway, that's another thing. Another thing we step back to is we can learn from other organizations. We can take a look at them from a broader perspective and see what their organization aspects that worked for them might be good for us, and approaches and tactics. And sometimes you got to fight fire with fire. So in the situation we're in, it's good to learn. It's good to learn what might work and what we can lend into our layered arsenal of approach, and how we can better be a group approach against the wall and crack it open. Another thing I want to share before I pass it over is a lot of times we don't see the damage to the wall. We're trying to break that wall down. We often don't see it until suddenly it'll shatter. And so we shouldn't ever give up. We should always keep going with our part of it. Like if I got a little tiny candy rock hammer and that's all I got, tip, 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 I'll do it. And the other person, maybe Monet's got a machete, bam, bam, bam on that wall. And sometime that moment we might hear just, and down it comes. And we're right at that point, and the other side knows it. It's down to paper thin. We've got them. How do we know? Because their contacts are behaving a certain way and giving information a certain way that clues that in very much. And they're not trying to mislead us, because their heads would not want this being shared, that they're starting to break. And you watch the main players that are in charge, like Disney, they are the ones that make it clear by what they do in the news, what they release in the news. That's the telltale sign. If they're doing damage control, there's damage to their wall.
Wow. Makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. So if you talk about yourself getting that perspective, and especially in with your work, because we know what's happened with your work and how the dodgy ones have pretty much stolen it, passed it off as their own, given all sorts of clues within, like your birth date, the time, birthmarks, etc., that we've spoken about in the past, to sort of provoke you. And I'm sure there would have been others that were also being provoked along the way. So at this time, how would you foresee yourself breaking down that puzzle and recreating the perfect picture as you intended it, for not only yourself, but for everyone that is coming out of this disgusting matrix?
Well, I think that boils down to the question, or the answer, one layer of it is, what can I do with my situation, with the tools I have, to help others be able to make their toolbox opened and use their tools? And one of the things I have is the script, copyrighted, everything else. I know exactly how to hit their wall now. I predicted during one of the interviews recently, I think it was Titus Frost, that they would watch for their last cry, their last talking point will be, he lost his case. That's in my situation, and that's it. The end justifies the means for them. It didn't matter they cheated everything else and did all the through. The answer is to lay it out with critical thinking, critical evidence, and these hosts are doing this now, where they're going, okay, let's look at this. Your attorney was a suspended license. They forced a loss right away before he even got to the table. He made sure that latches weren't met by running out the clock on 2 years of nonsense, using it up so you've already lost a second time. They're another bad way they did it. They did not serve the defendants. He was suspended and filed it pro per. He made a stipulation order that it's only for the attorney's eyes, not for judges, jury, or for me, the evidence, because they don't have evidence. When you lay out all the things where they say don't have working drafts, when you lay this out, how they did ploy after ploy after ploy, they lose their talking point. And that's what I said. I said, watch for this to be the last talking point they throw. And after we did that interview, on the comments came, on my page came, not a comment by the shill, just a link to he lost his case. So they did, it's like that Knight's Tale where the guy says, okay, your mama. And our character, our protagonist goes, look, mama jokes are way out of style now. They don't work anymore with knights, basically. And he goes, the last thing he says is, your mama, because he can't think of anything else to say. So this is the last thing they've got to throw at me, is what they forced through by the judge they planted, Gary Klausner, who was appointed by Bush and Robertson's team. So to get conservative decisions that Robertson wanted, Pat Robertson. So this is why now we've got them by the jugular. We can crack the wall in my situation for others to come through now, because the house of cards will come down. That paper thin wall is going to break. On that very talking point, he lost his case. I had a guy named Orrin Kruger, who's brought in, connected to Sophia Stewart and stuff like that, who called me and just berated me on and on. You lost. It's like spoiled children hanging to one last thing they got. It's like, well, no, we really didn't have our day in court, because it was all set. Even Rankin, when he was fired, within the half hour after he's fired, he allowed the opposition, his classmates, to proceed to summary judgment without opposition. If we had been allowed opposition, we'd been in court, we would have won. So this is the things they did. He's fired, he does his last thing to throw the case, where they bragged they had him in his pocket. So had it in their pocket. So that's why we've got him we're taking that last talking point that they're holding to, we're using it to our advantage now to educate the public on how much fraud was there, to help others with their court situations, that they won't run into this trick being used in the courts any longer. Did we lose our case? It was Breaker Moran on steroids. And do we have the evidence? Absolutely. Will we see the light of day on this? Absolutely. I can see from this perspective now, they don't stand a chance in heaven.
So the truth really does prevail. And I think that's what I'm hearing you say.
Yeah.
Is that when you are within your integrity, you know, this for me is kind of like what you're speaking about as a microcosm of the macrocosm we're experiencing right now. You know, there's been so many lies and so much deception for decades and decades and eons and centuries just on this planet for those of us who obviously have the eyes to see. So in your situation, which is the microcosm of that, they took you at a young age, programmed you to their specification or what they thought was their specification. But what they didn't realize is that the power of your strength, your light, if you will, that radiates within you. So for a while that can be dimmed and manipulated. But your will to succeed, to bring the truth forward, if you will, is exactly what's carried you through. So sadly, I know that you've had a lot of very sad things go down in your life to get to this point, such as your sons and the loss of your family and stuff like that. But here you are, despite all of that, in your integrity and in your truth. And it really is just a matter of time before everything, the wall is down, it's cracked open, and the light is really, and the matrix is open, so to speak, if that makes sense.
Everybody's conditioned to think along those lines. Everybody's conditioned to think about the matrix. What does it mean? And then when we plug in what was actually taken out of it when they simplified it, the matrix is a simplified formula that they lifted from the images they thought were cool. But here we are in a situation where when they start to label you, you know you're on target. And what have the labels been lately? The evil one. They call me the evil one. Great. Now, some people say, don't give it credence, don't give it voice. I don't care. It doesn't affect me. That means that they're concerned that I actually have a voice. Now, they're going to call me the evil one, but I'm not evil. What I do is I can connect the dots and bring the wall down in the court system, on the psych field, working with the legal system, illegal system right now. And so I can connect these dots from the congressman who's FBI to Hollywood, how they're connected with the FBI, to the banks that support them from the Bank of England on, that support them in the Federal Reserve, that support Hollywood and the FBI, that they're nothing without. I can connect all that with my very work, which encompassed all that. I can crack that wall and others can take the lead after that. So one of us can punch a hole through the wall. It's almost like Game of Thrones with the flaming sword through the breach, and then the rest can follow and make their way too. That's where we're at. So I'm going to see this through. Another thing too is when I was young, as you said, there were layered thinking is the way I survived that youth of horror. And what happened was, while they're trying to program me, there is layers in my mind at the same time they can't see because they think in one dimension, and they'll look at it and assess that I'm thinking in one dimension. Oh, he's getting it. He's getting it. He's nodding. He's getting it. But my layers are going, this isn't right. That's nuts. Okay, this isn't. Okay, I need to think of this at the same time. At the same time, I have different processes going in simultaneously where they're not getting the engine. They're only getting a surface response of It's one of the things they brag about in their training. CIA and FBI operatives will brag all the time to me when they approach me. They'll brag about when they're trying to court. I can be thinking, you can think I'm thinking I'm your friend. At the same time, I'm thinking all these different ways to kill you, blah, blah, blah. So they're bragging about, in a sense, double layer thinking, not multi-layer thinking. So what happens is they don't realize that I cannot think that. And others are learning to do that too, where on different layers, we're thinking a bunch of things that shield us and keep us safe from one thing pulling us in. You'll never pull us in because there's always other layers going on that anchor us in the right path.
So to call you the evil one is really just their kind of psychological warfare that they're going to try and use to break you down and to pull you back in again with fear, with anger, with all those negative qualities that they've learned how to control people with. Isn't that interesting? Yeah.
If I want the good boy chair, when they put the chair out for me, and if I want to be the good boy chair, then I have to do evil. That's the thing. Mm-hmm. So when they call me the evil one, I have to be part of the pedophile rings and things like this in order to be the good boy. I have to at least sanction it and say it's okay. And one of the things they'll say to me is, well, you know, like directors will say, we just want our actors to be happy. And they'll bring these young girls in. Or they'll say, you know, that it's natural, you know, that this is just a natural process. I don't think people realize how through Hollywood, through different organizations like the FBI, CIA, and different organizations across our planet, even Congress, child trafficking is huge. And what they're doing is they often guise it in the form of, that's why I put this, the train station scene in The Matrix. Nobody really understands that. The Wachowskis didn't understand it, so they simplified it. The train station scene in The Matrix actually describes what I'm going to describe now. They try to make it look like it's a grooming, like a merit program where gifted youth are being given an opportunity to be brought into a successful career path. It's child trafficking under that wrapping. That's got to realize. It doesn't look what a lot of people think it looks like. They think it's like children in cages. A lot of times these children are being brought in and the parents are a part of it because they're talked into thinking their children are going to be given an opportunity to excel and be future leaders. But while they're doing that, it's like, say, Shenandoah Shakespeare Express, where I worked. And these gifted youth are being brought in, underaged gifted youth are being brought in and having sex with the actors. And the director, Jim Warren, is saying, I just want my actors to be happy. That's personal experience. Now, is that not a bombshell? That's what's happening. And that gets my dander and passion up. Because I saw that happen. And I got fired at the end of 2 years of contracts because I said it was wrong. Who replaced me? A guy who went on to have sex with a 14-year-old who was gifted and is now there bragging about his tenure. Yeah, John. So what we've got is a situation where the system has it so incorporated and they have it in the idea that the casting couch that is in Hollywood and all these different touring groups and things like this is a natural thing. It's based in nature, and that this is allowing these gifted youth to excel, and these gifted youth are feeling they need to accept it. That's how bad it is and ingrained it is. It's not going to change overnight from Rose McGowan coming forward or Harvey Weinstein going down. It's not going to change. Or Disney doing a lower echelon sting, because I did an interview saying that they have a sex ring going on. Bob Iger wants to talk to me, and Bob Iger's fired at the same time, which we can see the articles. I have them here. This is going on at such a deep level. They didn't get rid of their upper echelon executives. They didn't get rid of their mid-level executives. They got rid of the lower ones at the parks. That doesn't clean it. And for them to do for Disney to do an article saying we purged our pedophiles, no, you didn't. You simply got rid of the lower ones so that the audiences will go, okay, nothing else to see here. There's a lot to see now. If they went so far to risk their reputation to do an article, they said they did a purge, then they've got something they're really trying to cover up. They're really trying to cover up. So one of the things we can watch for as we step back is watch the media trail. Watch what the mainstream media covers and puts out. They are a cleaning company for the elites' skeletons in their closets that are starting to fall out. They are a cleaning company. They run these articles like they did with Brian Fitzpatrick, the FBI congressman, to cover what his involvement in Ukraine was. They're supposed to cleanse it before someone else gets a hold of it, speak it first. In Armageddon or whatever it was, the space movie with Morgan Freeman as the Total Impact, maybe the one where he's the president. He even says that they're going to get this reporter to speak first because they want to have the take on it first for the public before anybody else does. They can spin it the way they want. TMZ, owned by Warner Brothers, Linda Burrow, the attorney for them, TMZ, also Warner Brothers attorney who's now at Netflix to launder the material I have, did the same thing. TMZ ran the article first, so they can have the first perspective on it. That's a gameplay. So anybody who's groomed and shown in the media with these stories that cover them, they are not the ones you should be listening to. If the mainstream media is giving them position and power and grooming, don't pay attention to them. From Keanu Reeves to you name it, they are being groomed. I've been there. I know what it means. If you see us being haggard, our families being persecuted, we're being put asunder, our phone calls being erupt, and our views being shadow banned, that looks like we don't have any views, and interviews being shot down, like the Titus one recently, where we only got audio, not video, then you know, not Snowden sitting in front of you with beautiful music playing, totally groomed in a very peaceful setting, with everything edited to the teeth with the best editing possible. That is a plant. That's a plant. And that's what a plant looks like. And mainstream media gives them all the coverage, like Elon Musk. These are the plants getting the machine working for them, which is the media machine, which works for the elite. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's how it works. Look under the cracks for those that are being shunned and shut down. They're the ones that give you the real story, because we're the ones that have been groomed, and we're the ones that are traitors, and we're getting the label, what? The evil one.
Something I'm interested in. Why are they so interested in kids or young girls or boys? I mean, whether it's kids, I mean, we understand the small little kids, the toddlers, the youngsters, that's really the Luciferian culture.
The answer's not good. The answer's not pretty. It's not a pretty answer.
And also, I mean, that I understand that it would be more the Luciferian thing, but why would the Harvey Weinsteins of the world, et cetera, why such young girls? I mean, there are thousands of gorgeous 25-year-olds strutting their stuff all over America type thing. Why not organize them beautiful call girls or willing participants? Why the young? What is the attraction to the young girls, just from your perspective?
Okay, I've done research on this too, besides what I've known, and it's not a good answer. It's not a pretty answer. It's not a pretty answer. These organizations, first of all, don't really believe in Satan. They use it to control their subsidiaries. So the people under them will believe they believe in Satan, but they believe in themselves. These people are all about power. The clues are right there. They're all about power. That's what the contact said. We're all about power. That's all you know. That's all they understand. So therefore, they wouldn't give their power away to another being. They want to be the center of that power. So they want their constituencies to believe in the satanic thing so they can enjoy the rituals. It stimulates them. It makes them feel excited. They want to go as dark as they can go because they feel that means they have as much power as they can possibly have. Now, one of the sad answers about the children, it's hard for me to say, is they're consuming them. They figured out that a child bodily consumed is the best kind of meat. They're consuming them like animals. They're eating them. And they consider that's the greatest power over another being. Cannibalism is coming back. And these guys practice this. And the ritual sacrifice of what they consider an animal. They call it the long pig or the hairless pig is how they refer to humans. And so they're actually processing children and consuming them. Now in Space Force, where they have my brother's name, Mark Laird is Mark Naird, and different things in it. And you can see I'm affected by this. They actually drop it in there in plain sight too. The main character in a joking session with the guy who's considered the biologist of the team, the Asian guy, is saying, yeah, we can like drink the children's blood. You're doing more than drinking blood. So what they're doing is, when the planted wife that was with me, that went back to Mike Lang on my birthday, she was trying to talk me into having human steaks that you can order from India. People don't realize we've only scratched the surface how dark this goes. And so that is what's going on. Also, why the young kids? They figure that, like I learned from Robertson's guy, Dr. Sova, who approached me, they want to dirty what is pure. They want to have it first. Purity. These freaking LA nerds out in Hollywood, a lot of them, these guys want to a trophy wife to complete the scene. Robinson's part of this. A trophy wife who has not been touched before. And then they are it on the block. But then that woman's a possession. She's not there because she has a heart and an intellect. She's there because she's got a body that hasn't been used yet, that they can wave like their shiny car and feel like they're important, that they got it. That's what matters to them. Power, prestige, and success. That's what took my sister in, and my brother and my cousin. Power and success. And my sister even said afterwards, after she got zored by the top players because of my situation, what we're worth, they took her in. And now she says no longer, and it amazes me. She goes, I'm not about a peacemaking anymore. I'm about power and success. She even says it. What happens inadvertently, they start to brag, arrogance. We're in for a rough time coming up with these things coming out. We've got to be ready to, I don't want to say swallow it, we've got to be ready to take it. And so I'm already aware of it. I haven't been sharing these things, but I've been aware of it. And it's time the children get set free. But the children are selected because that is the highest mark of being dirty and evil. It's the highest mark to hurt the innocent and dirty the pure. And these rituals center around that. But they consume. Yeah. They consume it. They even talk amongst themselves. There are certain sites that'll say the best meat is a certain age, a certain race. And so they're breeding cows.
Well, it is definitely time for that to end. I know we've been speaking a lot about the breeder programs that they have for these sort of things, and definitely the consumption. And if we're looking at the sexual acts with particularly, let's say, 12, 14-year-olds, as you say, you would be expected to have sex with a 14-year-old.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Is that for bribing, blackmail? Would that be for them blackmailing each other, having something over you? Because I do know that a lot of that stuff is filmed and used for blackmail purposes as well.
Well, it's not it's not like as heavy as I think I cut you off. Go ahead.
No, carry on.
Okay. It's not like heavy blackmail. It's more an assumed thing that you did it too. You're part of it.
Yeah.
And so it's more of a gentle, if I can use that word in the situation, you're part of this.
Yeah.
So if you raise your voice up on it, you're part of it. That's why you're going to see, like, when the questions could be asked, why hasn't anybody said about this prior? Why hasn't anybody said about this and talked about this through Hollywood? They're part of it. And so they'll come forward if it's the right timing, like the FBI guys with their journals that they're bragging about. They bragged to me that we're fans of the work. They said, fans of my work. They all have journals that they're waiting to release at the right time, be it to protect themselves if they're caught in the end, or to make them more popular with their exploits. These people are waiting for the right moment that's most profitable to come forward, or that it'd be advantageous to suddenly be the good guy or good girl to come forward because it's the right climate and right time. That does not serve the children. If you come forward at the unpopular time like I have, what happens to you? You pay the iron price, and no one steps in to help you. You'll be given little pats on the back and told, keep going. Yeah, good for you. It's like Jerry Maguire when he writes that mission statement. And they're all like, I give him a week. Yeah, I give him a week. They're not going to help you. But they'll jump on the bandwagon if it's suddenly popular. It's like all these faces back there going, oh my God, he's going to get it so bad. And wait, he made it through. I did it too. I did it too. Hey, I'm here. I made a difference also. It was wrong. That's the only time they're going to come forward, when you made it and suffered every loss and it's safe. Meanwhile, they allow it to go on. No actor should be celebrated. No actress, no director, no producer that has allowed this to go on. And that's the whole lump of them. They shouldn't be celebrated if they come forward. They shouldn't be celebrated.
Is it true that every actor or actress or entertainer, whether you're in the music industry or the movie industry, if you've won an award, you've pretty much done the dirty? Is that true?
That's what they tell me. They said I was an anomaly, that I was the exception, that I was being, because of my abilities, I was being brought in. They were blown away by the work. They'd never seen anything like it under the sun. But no, I've seen it over and over again. And you watch the personalities change. They get in, there's dark stuff on them, and they advise each other. You can see cracks of this now coming forward, where they'll admit, even Matt Damon admitted, when the one lady came to him, one actress, and said, this is going on, well, just let it go. They don't want to make the wave. They don't want to make the wave. So I would say they all know. They all know it's common industry. When I joined SSA Tours in Virginia, Shenandoah Shakespeare Express, great position, great job, 2 years of it. And boy, did I see it going on. And I was approached.
Sure. So it really is taking down the entire system. It's not just a couple of people.
It is all the way through it. It is, you're right. It's all the way through it, and everybody's involved. That's how they keep it going. And that's why they feel so insulated and secure. They feel secure that no one's going to blow the whistles. I'm the big threat. So since I was good, since I care, that's why I get hauled off 5 times now, as if I'm a criminally insane mass murderer about to commit murder. And that's why my sister says now, for Disney and Warner Brothers and FBI and Congressman Fitzpatrick, oh yeah, he said he was suicidal. Yeah, he said he's going to shoot me or shoot others to kill his son. No, I didn't. But she's going to say that to gain, when it's those same brothers she danced with at her wedding saying, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be alive, Tom, in tears. That's what they can do. And that's what scares me, is they can change even her into a monster. She's a monster. And she's
mind control. It's definitely
by choice. She's chosen for the awards. And she even called me one time, said, yes, somewhere along the line I screwed up, which means she knows what she did. She knows what she did. But my other cousin calling and saying, my other cousin called me, Lisa, and said, Tom, Todd, Jack, Julie, we've all done things that we could put away in jail for. Really? Can you imagine your family coming forward and telling you that they all could be put in jail, trying to say that that's you too? That goes back to echo what we said earlier. They think we're all dirty hands. Therefore, nothing can stop. But I said to my cousin, I said, not mine. I couldn't be put in jail for what I did. I haven't done it. She was disappointed. She was going to bring me in. My cousin Lissa is totally into Scientology in Hollywood. That's what she does. And she was going to teach me all these tapes and everything else to bring me in. So I was being brought in through my cousin. Where was she when the 302s were happening? 302s were decided. I've got a bought family that is part of the pedophile ring. My brother, he takes youth trips to Costa Rica. Underage teenagers, takes them to Costa Rica. Jack, who hates me, was part of these setups to have me hit. He actually had pictures on his site of the preteens under the water, of their bikinis and legs and butts under the water, posted them on his site. That's how they're getting away with this. He takes them like voyeur pictures of them through the rear view mirror of them or through the shrubbery at them, and he posts it. Jack's getting away with it. And who sponsors Jack? Spielberg and Disney. The only work he ever gets, he says, is low-level contracts at Sheraton and Disney World. Disney sponsors him. Spielberg, related by marriage. His wife, Diane Groves, is cousin to Ben Burt, Spielberg's right-hand man. That's what my family is, a microcosm of what's going on worldwide. And look how sick my brother and sister are. My cousins, bought and sold. So that's why Aiden doesn't have any family events. They don't let us go to the family events because we're supposed to be crushed. It's the idea of, if I go down, they're bragging they're going to get remodeled kitchens with the most expensive ranges and trips they're going to enjoy, and telling their kids are going to enjoy the trips too. If Uncle Tom is destroyed, that's how sick.
Well, that'll never happen. That'll never happen. So, they can dream about those remodeled kitchens, because I don't think that'll ever happen.
It didn't happen yet. But see, that's
just
where
interesting. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Just, I was talking about Disney. I was actually seeing something on one of the Telegram sites I'm on. I think it was this morning, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And they were interviewing some engineer guy, whatever. They have now created people like Disney, in Disney, people like Miley and one or two others, complete clones of them. Mm-hmm. Which are singing and dancing and carrying on, but it's not them at all. So it really, and I mean, they were actually interviewing this guy who creates these clones, and it's done within 24 to 48 hours. I mean, how crazy is that, that they're actually doing that now? So there they have a clone of whoever. And I mean, these guys are celebrating this stuff. They are celebrating this stuff, which is insane to me. It really, really, really is.
Right.
Wow.
Well, you know, this whole thing along that line of controlling us and cloning and things like this, the Neuralink. The Neuralink comes from the screenplays we said, our work. Okay, we know that, my work. But what Disney did was hijack that concept. And that's the way they can get intellectual property, besides everything else controlling the public, is if you have a Neuralink, they just take that Neuralink and you got all your ideas. Fleshed out, foamed out, everything lied out. They got your memories and your thoughts. Because that's what the intention was. And so they have Warner Brothers and Disney promote Elon Musk to take credit for my work in my screenplay, where all the bad things are laid out. So besides cloning, you've got Neuralink coming. Neuralink is the greatest answer to intellectual property theft. The greatest answer to intellectual property theft.
Wow.
All you can do is take mine out, kill me, take it out, put it into my brother. Was the plan is that my brother would take credit for my work. That's how Warner Bros. Wants to do it. They're claiming he's a successful writer. His writing is, oh my God, help us. So anyway, he does these, again, youth, young people, high schools. He goes to these junior highs and high schools and promotes himself on this book. It's terrible. But anyway, even my cousin said it was terrible. But the thing is that he's promoting himself as the great writer, and Warner Brothers senior writers listed as his friend. Isn't that crazy? So he is being groomed to take my work, and they can say, well, we didn't steal it. You took it from your brother. You stole it from your brother, so it's our work because your brother's with us. Is that incredible? There's the end game. So if there was Neuralink, just take it out of my neck, and suddenly my brother becomes a lot smarter. And they got everything, which is insane. It's in the screenplay. Wagner, the son of the architect, takes the Neuralink out of his dad and puts it in him and says, now we are one, because he didn't want to be number two to his dad. So he becomes the actual architect, becoming his dad. And so now he's number one with all his dad's memories and thoughts. There's the Neuralink. Thank you very much, Elon Musk, that you took from our work where we're warning about the Neuralink. And that's
does the person have to be dead that they're removing it out of?
No, in the scene, it's a great question. In this other scene I have, the Smith counterpart, they did it in Elysium when they ripped us off in Elysium and threw our case and announced Elysium was Sony, Greg Silverman of Warner Brothers. So what they did was they ripped it off where a shard of glass is used to cut out the enhancer, and it's implanted into our other guy, the good guy, so he now knows where to go to shut it. That's my piece. They stole it that way. And so they made it into a big box-like structure on the back. It's not supposed to be that. They overblow everything to make it cooler, they think. Stupid. But the thing is that the Neuralink can be cut out while you're alive. What happens to you? You've become dependent on it. You're basically a drooling idiot at that point. So that's what happens in the screenplay. The Smith character becomes a drooling idiot. That's what happens because it's ripped out. He's been dependent on those memories. And then Neo uses those memories to search for them to find out where this dome is in the metacortex building, using the memories to find it, not knowing what he's looking for. That's why the Wachowski did Sense8 through Netflix, when the case was thrown, announced it and said it was too big to write down because they were too lazy to even write for my work. So they just, again, visuals lifted from it. And Netflix is one that gave them the deal because the Warner Brothers attorneys went to Netflix and our case was thrown. Became Netflix attorneys. So you can launder through there. It's a simple trail. It's not that complicated. And so these guys are trying to go the extra miles. That's why Matrix 4 was rushed forward. But the idea that Neuralink was used, it's a great question. Even if you're alive afterwards, the Neuralink can be pulled from you. Now, in the screenplay itself, one more thing. The agents are not robots in the program. And what's interesting is Silver pushed that. It's an article saying he pushed that. Robots in the program, Bob. Robots in the program, he told the Warner Bros. Attorneys, or suits. No, it's not. But when he had all my notes through Discovery, took all my notes and everything in the thrown case where they threw it ahead of time, he realized it's actually real life people in the programs. That's why in Oblivion, which he worked with Disney, Oblivion has Joel Silver putting in real people as robot-like. He got it right after he had my notes. And that's something.
Wow, yeah.
I have a final question for you. And I think there are quite a few people who can identify with, let's say, maybe someone plagiarizing their work or stealing their work or whatever. What advice would you give for people who've experienced similar stuff to you? Maybe not on such a large scale as you, could be something on a smaller scale. But what advice would you give to people who have had their work stolen from them by anyone else, for that matter? How would you say
do not compose on your computers with external links. They see and they hear you, and that's not conspiracy, it's true. Snowden was supposed to talk about this to lay out the basic Cinderella nothings, so people go, oh, that's it then, okay, he told us the facts. No, he didn't tell you anything. He told you what we already knew. What's going on is they can work through your phone, through your computers, and they do it. It's common knowledge. That's what they do. So they monitor you all the time. If you create on your computer, they see exactly what you're creating is going to be stolen. You're done. If you actually have an idea that is revolutionary and new, it's going to be gone. They're going to take it. Handwrite it out. Don't do it electronically, else it's gone. You've already given it away. Don't discuss it. One of the best things to do as a writer is not to just, if you got that germ of an idea that starts to flow, the impulse is to go talk about it right away. Don't let it incubate. Don't talk about it right away, because pretty much what your mind's going to do is there's a mechanism in the mind basically where it's going to go, okay, that thought's done with. The flow is going to stop basically. You've got to keep nurturing in the nursery of the mind. Let it keep developing. As soon as you start announcing it, you go to a different way of thinking. You've shut that flow off. So that's another advice I would give. Another thing to do is watch out on the copyrights. You should make a short of it, put it out there on different platforms so that it's protected that way. Really, a copyright is who made it first. It's supposed to establish that. But you've got to understand the Copyright Office is totally infiltrated too. Look at my situation where they had my title copyrighted, no body of work. You can't do that. They did, with all the subtitles, create a slot to precede my work. A copyright on my title with subtitles, which means they see what goes in the Copyright Office, and before you get a chance to write it, they've created slots and are going to steal from it. And when they take from it, they're going to take the elements they think are cool. Warner Brothers Story Department talks about that with Greg Silverman, who was Joel Silver's prodigy, who replaced Robinoff, who incidentally went to China with a 20-foot deal with China. So our countries aren't battling. We're working together. The elite are working together in all countries. We are in a one world society already. It's all show and snow right now going on with these battles. So not worth paying attention to. But what happens is they will lift, they even say it on the Story Department pages, they say we lift even from original sources, elements we think are good, and we lift it out. Good luck suing them.
Wow.
So I would say to people, write it on paper. Don't speak out.
I like that what you said. Sorry, I love what you said about I always want to say, like, keep it sacred. When you write your story, keep it sacred. It's like, if you don't just when you're going through a process of this creative process, you don't just want yourself to be exposed to and be vulnerable just for anybody, because somebody can just trample on it and just ruin the whole process. Keep it sacred. Don't just share it with somebody just like that. Sit with it, grow with it. It's like a seed that you need to nurture, and it's your responsibility to make that seed grow, at the end of the day. So especially, I'm just taking a normal comparison, but in your world, what you've happened, it's but it's the same process even to today's world with normal people having their ideas, because I think there's a lot of people out there that has good ideas, but they just share it maybe too quickly with somebody, and then they get saying, no, it's not good enough, or no, and then that seed just immediately gets crushed. So
that's why I want to. You're right. That's why I want to form a company. And like I said, I want to put a banner of the company. Everything we've achieved through honest means, to defeat the Warner Brothers and the Hollywood and the FBI's idea that everyone's evil. That's how they get away with what they're doing. They justify it to themselves, my sister and everybody, that everyone's evil anyway. So they're just being honest by being evil. What the heck have we come to? No, it's about being honest and truthful. Animals have more integrity than us right now. population basically, because we've been so indoctrinated, except for a few of us, like audience and people listening in, like you guys are gems. It's like, and some of the hosts I know, gems. They're the ones that did not give in to all the pressure. First, you're tested by the fire. If you come out enlarged, you made it. But the idea is, yes, don't give that work away. Let it develop. And they will spot you. If you do a good work, say you're in elementary school and you do a good writing. My son just did a great writing. You are noted at that point forward as having a talent and are spotted. And once you're spotted, they're paying attention to you. And they're going to want to have farm out from you, like Bleeding the Bear, what you have. That's how they work. They look for the talents out there, which is also why the train station scene's there. So what you have to do is be very, very careful. When you you have the talent, what you need to do is, and we're going to form a company. That's my plan. If we see this through and get name credit for our work back, we got all the evidence and everything. They've already said we've won. We got to get past their talking point of you lost your court case. I'm so sick of seeing that stupid thing argued. It's so lame because of what we discussed. But I want to form a company where we will have integrity and protect your ideas, that people, even the milkmen, whatever, can come with their idea. It'll be sacred, protected, and you'll be able to know that it won't be stolen, because I already have enough ideas. So we're going to take the ideas that you have and keep it sacred, like a library of memories, and allow you to work it and be protected and allow you to bounce it without it being taken. And you'll be reassured, and we'll help you through the process where you will not have stolen work again. It'll be a protected environment where you can't infiltrate, and it's going to drive the other side nutbats. It'll drive them crazy. We create the doors that work. That's the answer. Through the experience we've had, what the public can do is lift up the ones that have been proven themselves. And you can spot that by the losses we've incurred. Have we lost our sons and daughters? Have they been taken from us? Have our work, our jobs been taken from us? Have we been listed as the evil ones? Have we been trashed by the mainstream media and shunned and silenced? Are the numbers not looking so high on our interviews because they've been shadow banned? Have we been interrupted constantly and we shared and we showed our evidence? You can use critical thinking. Then lift these hosts, lift Monet and Chantelle as you do. Spread the word, share it. Here are the ones worth their salt. Here are the ones that are worth following, because the mainstream media is the ones you turn off to. If you see a mainstream media promoting someone like Snowden, Elon Musk, shut your ears to them. It's garbage trolls. They are people who are groomed by the inside to be plastic giants. They're not worth it. Look for those under the cracks that are worth their salt, that suffered and carry the burden for you. And we'll see it through and we'll finish the show. And we'll protect you in the process. And in the end, we'll have mechanisms in place so you can do your work. There's the answer. We'll protect it for you.
Back the outside horse.
Right. That's right. If we've proven ourselves this far, we're not the evil one. We're called the evil ones because the other side's afraid of us unmasking them and pulling their curtains back. That's why they say
it's
that.
True. It's true.
Evil to them. Yeah. We're evil to their way of life collapsing. Anyway, that's it. Thank you.
Tom, it's so awesome to have you back again, and we will see you in a week's time again. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Riveting, beautiful. I just have conversations as usual. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I know Morna's got an internet lag there. It sounds like you're speaking.
I just wanted to say, sorry, but the first 20 minutes, my speakers started giving in and some forces wasn't happy with me listening or hearing, obviously, because but so I missed a lot in the beginning, but thank you, Tom. And
you're welcome. Well, hopefully you can hear it later. We can share. We all.
I'm gonna go watch it later.
They do not want this said. They do not want this said because we just gave the answer, and never talked about it before. We never talked about it before, but that is the answer to break the wall. We've stepped back. We got a new perspective. We recentered ourselves, and we know exactly how to kick this wall in. And that's what they're afraid of, and that's why I went through what I went through. And I'm proposing this is the idea. This company is going to change everything, everything. Name, credits, alt needs, share. And support amazing hosts like this, and we're going to finish the job. Give us the tools. Churchill said, we'll finish the job. Yeah, we will. Count on us.
Yeah, and we've got the tools.
Yeah.
Indeed. Indeed.
All right, guys. Love you guys.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for watching another amazing episode with our delightful guest, regular Tom ALTHOUSE. Really, really enjoy having you. Such riveting conversations always. So catch us again next week with Tom. And if you haven't already, please give us a like, a share, and a subscribe. Right now, we're still on our alternative channel, Solutions, but we'll be back on Aquarius Rising Africa in a day or two from now. But please share, definitely share. This is the information that definitely the world needs to hear about. So God bless you all. Take good care of yourselves, and we'll catch you very, very soon. Cheers, guys.